Thank you very much for the introduction and for inviting us to present today. Hopefully my slides are on the screen in a moment or two when they are sharing.
They're there, yeah.
Perfect. So I would like to speak about the topic of how knowledge management is critical to organizations undertaking their digital transformation, and especially when they're thinking about this concept of business continuity, which right now is something that is in a completely different scale than ever before. So I'd like to begin with a quick slide of a picture that I saw in a presentation and a lecture a few years ago. And the topic then was the contact center is dead, fact or fiction. And at the time we all thought, this is nonsense. Of course, this is not going to happen. People always want to speak to people. They always will work in a contact center. However, right now, if we look at the majority of companies around the globe, overnight, that traditional contact center has completely shifted and ordered in a way that will probably not return to the same situation. And that's brought with it a completely different set of challenges for organizations which they need to address. And when we talk about remote work, this is nothing new. The key difference is the scale and the need of remote working right now is completely unparalleled compared to any other previous time. So when we say that remote working is nothing new for many organizations, and even from, say, a 2019 survey by the IWG Global Workspace Survey, they reported that 69% of the people that had the ability to work from home of the people that responded to this survey, which is not a small number, but right now, if we're talking about contact centers and a number of organizations, that number is uplifted to 100%. So if we go back to that contact center number and details, what we see is that organizations have shifted from having a handful of contact centers to having several hundred or thousand, or as each one of their employees is their own contact center. And this has brought with it the need to respond to the interactions that customers are calling in. And right now, there's that increasing need to speak with a person. With a number of people around the globe in lockdown, they want to actually speak with a real person, get the service and support that they're looking for, as well as the employees having greater challenges as they don't have the support network of their colleague, and they don't have all of the materials that they've prepared around their desk. They're not sitting at their messy desk anymore with all the papers and notes that they know, but they need to have access to all of the ideas and concepts that they were previously storing readily available. And this is really what the key challenges with knowledge break down to, that there's a lot of information within organizations, and it's really challenging to find the right answer. So it could be like this library that you're going through every book, but that's going to take a long time. So how is it that organizations are able to help their employees and their customers find the right answers that they need, but at the same time finding them quickly? If we go through every book in the library, we'll get to the answer we want, but it's going to take a long time. So how can we get the answers that we need quickly? And then to the right person, depending if it's a sales agent or a technician or even a customer, each one needs a slightly different type of knowledge. And that's where KMS Lighthouse as a company and our methodology comes in with respect to knowledge management, breaking down the two different use cases of knowledge needs. So the first one being that content that's required to help the employees answer the customers. So different details about plans, promotions. For example, here we can see the itinerary that could be used in a tourism case. So the different details and services that are connected, making sure that all of that information that the customer needs to answer the customer, the employee needs to answer the customer is readily available. And then the second type of use case of knowledge for making sure that the employees have the details and know-how, the guides to do their job. How do I use my billing system? How do I use my reservation system? How do I use my booking system when I don't have that support network? And for business continuity, that's really critical. How can an organization continue to work when they're moving remotely and then they're having these unprecedented challenges and changes? So having all content and information readily available is critical. And that's what KMS Lighthouse does. And we've been successful with this around the globe with a number of different clients, including Qantas, the airline, which has a really nice use case of utilizing Lighthouse for their frequent flyer club team to be able to provide a really high level service of having access to all of the information and guides and presenting that to their customers really quickly and easily. And of course, as a company, our tagline and methodology is to enhance every interaction by making sure that everyone that needs information, whether that be an agent, an employee or a customer has access to that readily, quickly, and easily following knowledge management principles, small chunks of information that can be used in an interaction. And one final point that's really critical in terms of the current situation is how can knowledge management solutions be implemented really quickly in a crisis situation? And this is something that we've developed a methodology and know-how to enable organizations to deploy a knowledge base within 1 week. So having the 100 articles that they need to empower their staff to answer all of the different questions and work effectively within a crisis, including the user onboarding and setting the system up. So that's really powerful. And that's something that we've seen a lot of traction with and a really, really quick way that organizations can adapt during this challenging period. So I'd like to, again, thank you for the invitation to present and join today. And please feel free to reach out to me.